So the sports program I decided to add to our school is boys volleyball. I chose boys volleyball because I'm very familiar with a volleyball program, being a women's volleyball program. I also chose boys volleyball because I found it can be one of the cheapest sports that we can go ahead and add to our school. Um, I want to start off on saying that by adding a boys volleyball team, we are a small school, so we would initially just add a junior varsity team and compete at the junior varsity level. There are, however, no junior varsity teams within a 30-mile radius or even a 50-mile radius of Helias High School, so we would go ahead and travel to the Kansas City or St. Louis areas. So in calculating costs, um, if we were traveling to St. Louis or Kansas City, the main thing we'd have to worry about is bus costs and then also driver costs. So with that being said, depending on the size of the team, after we would host the tryouts, assuming it'd be about 10 to 15 kids with the size of our school, we could possibly take school vans, which would lower our cost. And then also coaches could drive as well, which would again lower our costs. Alright, so looking at costs on what it would cost us, gas for those two vans, if we did have, say, the 10 to 15 kids go out for our sport, would be around $1,200. We're looking at about 12 to 13 games for a season, which would host 7 either home and 6 away, or vice versa. That being said, my costs for uniforms would be roughly around $1,500 for shorts and jerseys. Men's volleyball is very easy to find a uniform for. It's just a simple Nike or Mizuno short and then also a tank top jersey. Being that those run maybe $12 to $15 a piece, some screen printing on them, maybe $5 a jersey. Again, we're looking at maybe a rough cost of $1,500 for all of that for the 10 to 15 kids with a few extra. Officials, depending on the number of matches we did have, we would estimate in there about $1,000 for officials. The reason I would say that is because I would like to host men's volleyball after or before a women's volleyball match. If there was only a JV team, I would like to host them before the varsity women's volleyball, or in our spare gym. So men's could be in one gym and women's could be in the other. Then going back to coaches, I put in $7,000 for a coaching budget just because you would hire a head coach just for the men's team, and then you could hire an assistant as well. But the women's volleyball coach would also help out with that sports program, which happens a lot in many of the sports programs here in Kansas City that actually have a men's volleyball team. Then equipment, which is actually great because we have 4 sets of nets, 4 sets of poles, 4 sets of ref stands, scorekeeping, everything like that already at Helias. The only thing that differs between men's volleyball and women's volleyball is the height of the net and the volleyballs. The height of the net is easily changeable. You just raise the pole. Any net does that. All standard nets do that. And then men's volleyballs are a little bit heavier. They also spin a little bit more different. So I incorporated $1,500 in there for new balls if we were adding a men's program, and then maybe a cart or 2. But that would cover practice balls, game balls, everything like that. So when I add up all my costs together, we're looking at roughly around $13,000, give or take. So for a good budget to start a sports team, I'd probably increase that by $2,000 just so we had some playroom. So about $15,000 to start a junior varsity sports program at Elias High School. Again, the reason I said it would just be JV is because we would not have enough turnout right away to establish a varsity sports team at Helias. We would want to build the program a few years and then maybe look at expanding a varsity team. But then even if you did that, you're maybe looking at just a few more jerseys and then also just a few more games to add into your playing schedule. Practice time could stay the same because as girls do, the varsity and junior varsity practice together. So the men's could do that as well. Save gym time there. And also with coaches, the coaching would work the same way, even if they added a varsity team.